Attention green card holders. Major immigration rules have just changed, and these updates could directly affect your status in the United States. From stricter travel requirements to enhanced reporting and compliance obligations, every resident must understand the new expectations immediately. Ignoring these changes could put your permanent residency at risk. In this briefing, we'll break down exactly what you need to know and the critical steps to protect your status. The newly enacted immigration regulations have taken immediate effect, placing a renewed responsibility on all green card holders to remain fully compliant with U.S. immigration law. These changes are mandatory, and they apply universally, irrespective of how long an individual has maintained permanent residency. Even those who have held a green card for decades must now carefully adhere to the updated standards, as failure to comply can have serious consequences, including loss of permanent resident status. The government has emphasized that ongoing compliance is not optional, and all green card holders are expected to demonstrate clear intent to reside permanently in the United States. A central component of the new rules is the stricter requirement for physical presence in the country. Green card holders are now required to show a consistent and substantial presence in the U.S., which limits the amount of time they can spend abroad without risking questions about abandonment of residency. Previously, absences of 6 months or less were generally considered safe, and even longer trips could often be mitigated with re-entry permits. Under the new framework, however, extended absences are closely scrutinized, and spending too much time outside the United States, particularly exceeding certain thresholds over multi-year periods, can trigger inquiries from immigration authorities regarding the green card holder's intent to maintain permanent residence. Given these heightened requirements, meticulous documentation of all international travel is now essential. Green card holders are advised to maintain detailed records of every trip taken outside the U.S., including boarding passes, passport stamps, visa entries, and receipts for accommodations or transportation. This documentation serves as concrete evidence of travel patterns and demonstrates adherence to the physical presence obligations. Such records can be invaluable if a residency determination or an inspection by immigration authorities occurs, as they provide a clear, verifiable history of the individual's time spent inside and outside the country. Without such proof, green card holders may find themselves at risk of challenges to their permanent resident status, even if their absences were legitimate and temporary in nature. In summary, these regulations underscore the importance of diligence, organization, and proactive compliance. All green card holders must now not only remain physically present in the United States according to the new thresholds, but also maintain thorough, accurate records of their travel. Proper documentation and consistent residency will serve as the foundation for protecting one's permanent resident status under this updated legal landscape. Compliance is no longer a passive responsibility. It requires careful planning, attention to detail, and a clear understanding of the rules to ensure continued legal residence in the United States. Under the newly enacted immigration regulations, green card holders face significant changes regarding extended travel outside the United States and biometric compliance. One of the most consequential updates involves the limitations on re-entry permits. Previously, permanent residents could obtain multiple re-entry permits to facilitate extended absences from the United States, allowing them to travel abroad for work, family, or personal obligations without risking their residency. Under the revised rules, however, an individual is now entitled to only one re-entry permit per 5-year period. This restriction dramatically reduces flexibility for green card holders who rely on international travel for professional or personal reasons. Extended stays abroad must now be carefully planned and justified, as failure to comply with these requirements can result in questions about the individual's intention to maintain permanent residency, potentially jeopardizing their green card status. A re-entry permit serves as an official authorization from U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, USCIS, that permits a green card holder to remain outside the country for up to 2 years without being considered to have abandoned their permanent residence. With the new limitation, green card holders must assess their travel plans carefully before applying, as they cannot obtain a second permit within the same 5-year window. This change places added importance on strategic planning, ensuring that any extended trips are necessary and properly documented. The government has indicated that these measures are intended to reinforce the commitment of permanent residents to live primarily in the United States, while still allowing for occasional, unavoidable international travel. In addition to travel restrictions, the updated regulations mandate more frequent biometric updates. Green card holders are now required to submit fingerprints, photographs, and signatures to USCIS every 5 years, replacing the previous 10-year cycle. Biometric information serves as a critical tool for identity verification, security checks, and ongoing monitoring of permanent residents. By shortening the update interval, USCIS aims to maintain more current and accurate records of green card holders, helping ensure compliance with U.S. laws and reducing potential fraud. Failure to complete a scheduled biometric appointment can have serious consequences, including delays in green card renewal or, in extreme cases, the loss of permanent resident status. Taken together, these two changes, restricted reentry permits and more frequent biometric updates, emphasize the need for vigilance and careful record keeping among green card holders. Those who travel abroad frequently or hold obligations outside the United States must plan their trips strategically, apply for reentry permits when necessary, and maintain complete documentation of their travel. Simultaneously, green card holders must comply promptly with all biometric requirements to ensure their residency status remains secure. Compliance with these measures is no longer optional. It is essential for protecting one's permanent residence under the new legal framework. Recent changes to U.S. immigration law have significantly increased the scrutiny applied to green card holders, particularly regarding legal compliance and financial reporting. One major development is the enhanced coordination between law enforcement agencies and U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, USCIS. Through expanded data sharing agreements, criminal records, arrests, and other legal actions are now routinely communicated to immigration authorities. As a result, even minor criminal offenses, previously considered inconsequential, can prompt a formal review of a green card holder's status. These reviews are designed to assess whether an individual continues to meet the eligibility requirements for permanent residence. Offenses ranging from petty theft to driving under the influence can now carry immigration consequences, making vigilance and legal awareness more critical than ever. Green card holders are therefore strongly advised to exercise caution in all legal matters, as any interaction with law enforcement, even if seemingly minor, may trigger a formal evaluation of their residency. In addition to criminal compliance, green card holders are now under heightened obligations to demonstrate full tax compliance. Permanent residents are required to file U.S. tax returns annually on worldwide income, regardless of whether they reside in the United States or abroad. This requirement applies to all income sources, including wages, investments, and foreign earnings. Failure to meet these obligations, whether through omission or late filing, can result in financial penalties, interest charges, and, more importantly, immigration consequences. USCIS now routinely verifies tax compliance when processing green card renewals, reentry permits, or naturalization applications. Individuals with a history of non-filing or underreporting may face additional scrutiny, and unresolved issues with the Internal Revenue Service, IRS, can be cited as a factor in questioning whether a green card holder is in good standing. The intersection of criminal and tax compliance under the new rules underscores the broader principle that permanent residency carries ongoing obligations beyond simply holding a green card. Green card holders must maintain lawful behavior and demonstrate financial responsibility at all times. Proactive measures are essential, including keeping thorough records of income and tax filings, consulting qualified tax professionals to resolve past noncompliance, and seeking legal counsel immediately if criminal issues arise. Addressing these matters early not only mitigates potential penalties, but also strengthens an individual's ability to defend their permanent resident status. In summary, green card holders now face intensified oversight from both law enforcement and immigration authorities. Maintaining compliance with U.S. laws, both criminal and financial, is no longer optional, but a critical requirement for preserving permanent residency. Diligence, careful documentation, and timely legal and tax compliance are essential strategies to ensure continued lawful residence under this updated regulatory framework. Under the new immigration regulations, green card holders must exercise heightened caution regarding both the use of government benefits and adherence to legal obligations, as these factors now carry significant implications for permanent residency. One notable change involves the scrutiny of public assistance. While lawful access to certain benefits was previously less likely to impact green card status, the updated rules expand the scope of review. Receiving specific forms of government aid, including cash assistance, Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP benefits, Medicaid, except for emergency services, and subsidized housing, can now be considered when assessing whether a green card holder is likely to become dependent on public support. It is crucial for permanent residents to document the reasons for accessing any benefits, such as temporary unemployment, medical emergencies, or other circumstances beyond their control. Demonstrating active steps toward financial independence, such as job searches, skill development, or return to work plans, can help mitigate potential negative interpretations by immigration authorities. Maintaining thorough records, including receipts, correspondence, and explanatory statements, is strongly advised to establish evidence of self-sufficiency. In addition to public benefit considerations, the new regulations introduce expanded grounds for deportation that warrant careful attention. Green card holders now face increased immigration risks for activities that were previously less emphasized. Among these are providing material support to organizations designated as terrorist entities, regardless of whether the individual was aware of the group's designation. This includes indirect or inadvertent contributions that may be interpreted as supportive of illegal activities. Furthermore, false claims of U.S. citizenship, intentional or otherwise, carry severe consequences. Even honest mistakes on forms, voter registration, or applications can trigger status reviews if not promptly corrected. Similarly, participation in federal elections without proper citizenship status is now explicitly classified as a deportable offense. Green card holders must exercise vigilance when completing any official documents or engaging in civic activities to avoid inadvertent violations. The combined effect of these rules emphasizes the need for careful documentation, legal awareness, and proactive compliance. Green card holders should maintain accurate records of any government assistance received, ensure all forms and statements are truthful, and seek immediate legal guidance if any potential violations occur. These steps are essential for protecting permanent residency, particularly in light of the intensified monitoring and enforcement measures implemented by U.S. immigration authorities. In conclusion, these regulatory updates underscore that permanent residence carries ongoing responsibilities extending beyond mere physical presence. Demonstrating financial self-sufficiency and avoiding prohibited activities are now critical components of lawful status. By proactively documenting benefits use, adhering to legal requirements, and seeking professional guidance when necessary, green card holders can safeguard their residency and mitigate the heightened risks introduced under the new framework. The updated immigration regulations have introduced substantial changes to the naturalization process, with a particular emphasis on the depth and scope of citizenship interviews. Previously, naturalization interviews focused primarily on civics knowledge, English proficiency, and basic verification of residency and moral character. Under the new framework, USCIS has significantly expanded the range of topics covered during the interview. Applicants can now expect detailed inquiries into their entire personal history as a green card holder, including international travel, financial activity, employment history, and family relationships. The purpose of this enhanced scrutiny is to ensure that applicants have consistently complied with U.S. immigration laws, maintained lawful permanent residency, and demonstrated good moral character throughout the entire period of their permanent residence. Travel history is now examined with greater precision. Applicants are expected to account for all absences from the United States, providing exact dates, reasons for travel, and supporting documentation such as boarding passes, visas, or re-entry permits. The aim is to verify that applicants have not exceeded permitted absences, which could suggest abandonment of permanent residency. Similarly, employment history is reviewed to ensure compliance with U.S. labor and tax laws. Applicants must demonstrate that they have worked legally, reported income accurately, and filed taxes appropriately. Financial records, including tax returns and other relevant documents, may be requested to confirm proper reporting and adherence to fiscal obligations. Beyond travel and employment, the interview now also explores broader aspects of personal conduct. Any interactions with law enforcement, even minor incidents are considered, as criminal history can affect the determination of moral character. Certain convictions or security related concerns can trigger expedited removal proceedings, which significantly reduce the applicant's ability to contest deportation. This includes situations where a green card holder has been convicted of aggravated felonies or is deemed a national security risk. Under these circumstances, the individual's rights to appeal or apply for relief may be severely restricted, emphasizing the need for strict compliance with all laws throughout permanent residency. To navigate this intensified process successfully, applicants are strongly advised to prepare comprehensive documentation covering every relevant aspect of their residency period. Accurate records of travel, employment, tax compliance, and any interactions with government or law enforcement agencies are critical. Consulting experienced immigration counsel prior to the interview can also help ensure that responses are accurate, consistent, and supported by evidence, reducing the risk of complications or denial of citizenship. In summary, the naturalization interview has evolved into a rigorous examination of a green card holder's entire life in the United States. Thorough preparation, meticulous documentation, and legal awareness are essential for demonstrating eligibility and protecting one's permanent residency under these stricter rules. The recent changes to U.S. immigration regulations have introduced an unprecedented level of oversight regarding employment, income reporting, and Social Security compliance for green card holders. USCIS now actively cross-references information from multiple government sources, including the Social Security Administration and the Internal Revenue Service, to identify potential discrepancies between reported income and actual earnings. This enhanced verification process targets unreported income, unauthorized employment, and the use of fraudulent or misrepresented Social Security numbers. Even minor discrepancies can trigger investigations, status reviews, or more serious consequences, making it essential for permanent residents to maintain meticulous records of their employment and financial activity. Green card holders engaged in self-employment, freelance work, or remote employment for foreign companies must be particularly diligent in documenting all earnings and ensuring proper reporting to both the IRS and Social Security Administration. Any attempt to underreport income, even unintentionally, can be interpreted as non-compliance under the new regulatory framework. Similarly, working without proper authorization, using false documentation, or misrepresenting one's Social Security information can have severe repercussions, including fines, loss of permanent residency, or even deportation. These rules reflect a broader shift toward continuous oversight and proactive enforcement, rather than relying solely on self-reported compliance or periodic checks. Given the heightened scrutiny and the potential for severe consequences, professional legal guidance has become indispensable. Green card holders who face questions about their employment history, income reporting, or Social Security compliance should seek the counsel of both immigration and criminal attorneys. Coordinated legal advice is essential because certain employment-related issues may have dual implications: criminal exposure for fraud or misrepresentation, and immigration consequences that threaten permanent residency or future naturalization. An immigration attorney can evaluate the risk to residency status and advise on corrective measures, while a criminal attorney can address any potential violations of federal or state law. Together, they ensure that legal responses are comprehensive, mitigating the risk of escalation and preserving the individual's rights. Proactive compliance is the best safeguard under this new regulatory environment. Maintaining accurate employment records, tax filings, Social Security documentation, and any correspondence with government agencies is critical. If discrepancies or potential violations are discovered, addressing them promptly with professional guidance can prevent minor issues from developing into major legal or immigration problems. In summary, the integration of data across federal agencies has raised the stakes for employment and tax compliance among green card holders. Vigilance, thorough documentation, and timely professional consultation are essential to navigate these changes successfully and to safeguard one's permanent residency in the United States. Under the updated immigration regulations, meticulous record keeping has become a central responsibility for green card holders seeking to protect their permanent residency. Maintaining comprehensive documentation is no longer optional. It is a critical safeguard against potential challenges from U.S. citizenship and immigration services, USCIS, or other federal authorities. Records should include detailed accounts of all international travel, with exact dates of departure and return, copies of boarding passes, visa stamps, and re-entry permits where applicable. Employment documentation, including pay stubs, contracts, and tax records, is equally important as it demonstrates lawful work and financial compliance. Additionally, keeping copies of tax filings, IRS correspondence, and proof of payment ensures that permanent residents can substantiate adherence to U.S. tax obligations. Any interactions with government agencies, including notices, appointments, and responses to inquiries, should also be carefully preserved, as these may be requested in connection with residency verification, naturalization applications, or legal proceedings. The primary purpose of such comprehensive documentation is to establish a verifiable record of ongoing compliance with U.S. immigration requirements. Immigration authorities increasingly scrutinize green card holders' records to confirm that they have maintained physical presence, fulfilled employment and tax obligations, and otherwise demonstrated their intent to reside permanently in the United States. Without thorough evidence, even routine or temporary absences, minor employment discrepancies, or administrative oversights can be interpreted as noncompliance or abandonment of residency. Consequently, green card holders must adopt systematic practices to organize and secure all relevant documentation, ensuring it can be produced quickly and accurately if required. While careful record keeping is essential, the ultimate safeguard against the limitations imposed on green card holders is U.S. citizenship. Naturalization provides a level of security that far surpasses the protections associated with permanent residency. Once naturalized, individuals are largely exempt from physical presence requirements, re-entry permit limitations, and many of the heightened compliance obligations imposed on green card holders. U.S. citizens are also significantly less vulnerable to deportation, except in cases involving fraud or other exceptional circumstances. For those who meet the eligibility criteria, typically 5 years of permanent residency or 3 years if married to a U.S. citizen, applying for citizenship is the most effective way to protect their status and gain full legal and civic rights. Maintaining meticulous records of travel, employment, tax filings, and government interactions is essential for demonstrating compliance and safeguarding permanent residency under the new rules. Beyond record keeping, pursuing naturalization provides the most comprehensive protection, offering freedom from many of the restrictions and risks that green card holders now face. Strategic planning, organized documentation, and timely action are therefore crucial for long-term security in the United States. These new immigration rules mark a critical turning point for green card holders. Staying informed, maintaining compliance, and documenting every aspect of your residency are now essential. Take proactive steps to protect your status, seek professional guidance when necessary, and consider naturalization as the ultimate safeguard. Vigilance and preparation are your strongest tools in navigating this evolving landscape.